And I'm moving through these techniques relatively quickly because I want you to have 3 different tools for changing habits.
Well, now wait a minute.
Yes.
Are you going to leave me with the gross, disgusting thing of my
remember,
chocolate ice cream next to the sauerkraut?
Now remember, this was, you didn't necessarily tell me you wanted this, right?
Right.
So this
So I can put it
emotional,
back?
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
And the reason why I do that is just with something vague and ambiguous is because I don't want you to ever remove a pleasure center that you enjoy.
Okay.
Okay? That's not my purpose.
Oh, I know.
Like I said,
I know.
these habits aren't negative or positive to me.
Right.
This is what the person brings in and says, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
Great. What is the thing that you like? And tell me about it. And when you think about it, what do you notice first? Oh, it's a feeling. It's a feeling. What's that feeling? Oh, it's the creaminess, it's the smoothness, it's the texture. Okay, great. When you talk about that, give me a better idea. Build it out. Are there any visuals associated with it?
All right.
Black and white or
I'm
color?
back on the ice cream. So.
Awesome. There you go. Good. Are there any visuals associated with it? Black and white or in color? Fuzzy or clear? Are there any sounds? When you think about the sounds, is it like it's coming from outside or is it like it's coming from inside? Is it real loud or is it kind of soft? All of these questions will help the person start to really get a concrete image, visual, and feeling and sounds about what it is that they're thinking about. They really connect with it. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
So what if your habit that you don't like is thinking? Like you're an overthinker. So
What if you're an overthinker?
yeah.
Go ahead and overthink that through just for a second and explain it to me better.
I think a lot about everything.
Sure.
Very detailed.
Yep.
From the beginning when you walk through the door till you put your jacket down till you write your note. Overthinking.
Okay. Whenever you consider that overthinking,
Well, it's more to it than that, but
Sure.
this is just a detailed.
most of what I got from you just now was a lot of visual detail. You're keeping track of a lot of visuals. Putting down the jacket, walking through the door, writing stuff down. These are lots of visuals. You're action, very action oriented, you're seeing a lot of visuals. There's no problem with that. In fact, if someone is giving you more details than you're used to, like if it's just pouring out of them, oh no, it's in color. Oh no, it's vivid. Oh, I hear the sounds. It's internal. The more that they can do that, actually the more real it's becoming to them. It's not a problem at all. It's actually even better. The more engagement you can get, the more back and forth into that where they're really connecting with the visual, the sounds, the feelings. Whenever they're really feeling it, they're feeling it. Okay? So you want to get that. The more of that, the more overthinking really that you can get to where they're really considering this, the better off you are. Does that make sense? Great. The swish pattern. Now, I went ahead and put out to the side the science that we're using on these patterns. The first one was a limbic system trigger. We're using the limbic system, and this is on the outline again. I'm sorry, the one-page outline. I handed you second. Sorry. We're moving into the swish pattern. Mirror neuron activation. That's exactly what this is. Mirror neuron activation. That's what we're going to do with the swish pattern. The reason we call it the swish pattern is because we're going to take one thing and swish it across and smash it with something else. It's a visualization technique that goes on in the mind. That's why they call it swish, though, is so that you will have, you guys know what a swish is whenever you shoot a basket and it goes through the net and it, whoosh, that's what it's about.
Is it nothing but net?
Nothing but net, yes, yeah, absolutely. Love it. So think about the habit, behavior, or belief that is causing you grief. Now this obviously doesn't have to be anyone in here, but if I were to take this back to what I used to do, it was binge eating. I used to binge eat constantly, way too much, overeat every time I sat down at the table. And this was a habit that I needed to get rid of, right? It was the one that was causing me grief. So follow the checklist. Now when I did this, I didn't know there was such thing as a checklist. I didn't know there were such things as this, but I did know how to imagine myself conquering this habit, this behavior. So I did that. I started imagining what I would do instead of what I used to do. So instead of the binge eating that I normally would do, and the chips and the this and the that, I started thinking, I'm going to eat this instead. And then whenever I do that, I'm going to go for a run later. And I would start thinking about, now why would I want to do that? Well, because I want this outcome. And what will it mean once I get it? Well, it'll mean this. And how will that make you feel? Well, it'll make me feel great. So I'd go run myself through this several times until I was convinced that this is what I wanted to do. I thought everybody did that. Nope.
That'd be nice.
So there's a real quick, easy way to do this called the Swish Pattern, where you don't have to walk yourself through all these questions and different things. We do a real fast, easy checklist. What's the thing that you're doing? What do you notice about it first? Does anyone in here have anything that's a habit that they'd like to talk about or like to get rid of, or one that maybe you dealt with in the past with a patient and you'd like to know how to do that? Coffee, great. So then what I would ask that person is, what's the first thing you notice about that coffee that you want to stop doing that? What's the first thing you notice? And you would say, if it were you.
Oh, that I want to stop doing?
Yeah.
Oh.
If it were you, let's pretend it's the coffee.
Okay.
What's the first thing you notice about that?
That I don't like.
Yes.
Oh.
No, just the first thing you notice.
Oh, it's warm and creamy.
It's warm and creamy. You two have some similar language patterns. Okay, great. So it's warm, which is a feeling,
Right.
and creamy, which is kinesthetic. We call that, so it's tactile. Tactile. So when I rub this and that's smooth, that's in our emotions and our kinesthetics, but also whenever I feel badly, that is kinesthetic and that's in our emotions too. Both of those are kinesthetic. Okay? And our brain processes both. This is just as real as feeling sad to our brain. Okay? So now that we've got those, I'm going to go into the script. Go down to the checklist now on the kinesthetic part. So she said it was warm and creamy, right? So then I'm going to ask, is there any location that when you think about it, that warmness, that can you feel it in your body, or you can? And where? Where's that location?
Through my mouth and my throat.
Mouth and throat, and you kind of feel it coming down and warming up your belly, right?
That's
Awesome, fantastic. And what's the size of it? Do you feel like, does it feel like it's like a wave coming in over you, or does it feel like smaller? Like
It's big.
Okay, great. And then whenever you think about that, is there a shape to it at all? Is it like a river flowing through you? Is it like a ball of energy? Shape to that feeling?
It's kind of more like a dense thing.
A dense thing, heavy. Dense,
A dense, powerful.
powerful. Love that. So what's the intensity on that?
Wow.
Yeah, scale from 1 to 10?
11.
11. Awesome. Do you guys see how much we connected with this just in kinesthetics? What visuals do you have come to mind whenever you think about that?
Smiling.
Smiling. So whenever you think about smiling, what is that in color, or is that black and white? Whenever you think
Oh,
about
it's colorful.
it's colorful, right? And is it bright and vivid, or is it kind of fuzzy?
It's more of the earth tone.
Earth tones. Okay, more like a mild, like autumn.
No,
with smiles?
more like the kind of what do you call them? Nudes, like I'm thinking more like what is it?
Baroque era.
Desert kind of.
Okay.
almost like, sandstone.
Yeah, real
brown,
pretty. I think of
and-
Phoenix automatically,
Yeah.
or Santa
No,
Fe.
no, I was thinking Santa Fe.
Santa Fe,
Sometimes
Phoenix,
it's
yeah,
really,
okay.
You know how you see the pictures and
Mhm.
they have like really so warm and it's just
Awesome.
kind of steady.
Yes, steady.
Um,
Calm, steady. We're back to kinesthetics.
Yes.
Went right back into them. Any sounds associated with that? Whenever you
Well, I
think
can
about it.
hear it.
You
I
can hear it brewing, or you can hear it.
I can hear the whole thing.
You can hear the whole
Yeah,
thing.
The swallowing.
The swallowing of the coffee. You can hear
the
that.
Stirring,
The stirring.
the brewing.
The brewing.
The smelling.
The smelling.
Oh, you are.
The grinding. The pouring.
My goodness, very auditory. Okay, so did you see how easy it was for her to recall all of this? She's very associated with this coffee, right? So now whenever
Oh, yeah, I am.
whenever you think about that habit that you're
true.
doing, if you actually wanted to get rid of that, which I don't know that you do, but if you did want to get rid of it at this point, I can implement the Swish pattern. This is a very real thing to her. She's built it up. The emotions are there. We're ready for a change. So what we do now is we generate the ideal image of the individual. So what I need you to do is think about the you that already has this solved.
Okay.
The ideal image.
Yes.
Yes. How does that feel?
Light.
Light, right? And then whenever you think about that and it feels light,
Right.
are there any other feelings associated with that?
All that money you saved on the topic.
There you go.
Happy.
Happy, yes. And what are the visuals now that you think, whenever you're the perfect you, the you that has all the character traits that you are most proud of, the you that acts exactly the way that you want to when you want to, the perfect you,
Really
any
revealing
visuals?
here.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I keep seeing green, light green.
Light green,
And light in weight, light in ease of movement.
mm-hmm. What does your posture look like when you think of that perfect image?
Well, almost floating on the air, like almost prancing around like a fairy.
Love it. Perfect. Perfect. Any sounds associated with that? Perfect version of
No,
you.
not really.
Not really. What types of things would you say? The perfect version of you.
Oh, well, shoot, dressing sparkly. Kind of
Sparkly? Okay.
Very in tune.
Very in tune. So
Not,
you would constantly be saying positive things, or mostly feel. You would feel the right things.
feel in harmony.
Perfect.
Not blocked with
Perfect.
chemical.
Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take that image and almost like it's coming from behind your head, I want you to smash the idea of you drinking that coffee. Obliterate it.
Okay.
What way did you do that?
I turned it into a puzzle and then knocked it over.
Fantastic. I've had people imagine the version of them, the perfect version of them, with a sledgehammer smashing that old image like it's in a picture frame. I've had people do that. I've had people actually stomp on it and crush it, and they wanted to do it right there in the moment. They said, "Can I stomp on it?" Sure.
Oh.
Stomp on it and crush it. Doesn't matter which way you choose to destroy it, but we want to destroy that old image with the version of you that already solved this problem. Okay? Now, when you do that effectively in your mind, that activates your mirror neurons, and it absolutely becomes a new pattern, a new habit. That you physically, in your mind, you went through an effort to do that. You decided that you no longer liked that old image of you, and the new image is what you want. And when people decide that, those mirror neurons activate, that's a limbic system engagement, and it is over.